All right, thanks, guys. Happy Friday morning to you. We improved to 6-1 straight up in our last 7 Underdog tier package picks on patreon.com/Brock page yesterday. And that's good for 86% during that short span. And of course, that's a website that I operate that gives you premium daily sports picks beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. We're also 9-2 straight up in our last 11 plays in that same category. Good for 82% during that stretch as well. And we'll get to talking a little bit more about that in just a second. Before we go ahead and move on, let's take a look at some Belarusian Vysshaya Premier League action. And we're going to start with Slavia Mozhir taking on Torpedo Belarus Zhodinyo in an 8 a.m. Eastern start time. Mozhir's the plus money favorite at plus $1.60 and the total at 2.5. The draw is plus $1.95, and if you like Torpedo in a slight upset, they're plus 170 on the money line. And speaking of Torpedo, they're coming fresh off an impressive 5-2 performance over FC Minsk in their last outing. Matter of fact, Torpedo hasn't lost a game in their last 4, including a solid 2-0 shutout victory over energetic BGU during that span. Torpedo's 4-2-1 record on the season is good for 14 total points in Vysshaya Liga. They're also currently in third place, just 2 points out of first. Torpedo's given up just 4 total goals on the season, ranking third in the entire division in that category. Now Slavia on the other side, they've dropped 2 out of their last 3 themselves, including an embarrassing 2-0 shutout loss to Bate Borisov in Belarus Cup play. Slavia has actually been victorious in just 1 out of their last 5, including losses to the likes of FC Minsk and Izlak during that span. Slavia has given up 12 total goals thus far in league play, which puts them 14th out of the 16-team league in that ranking. Now, total-wise, Slavia's last outing did get well over the total of 2.5 goals. Matter of fact, 3 out of Slavia's last 4 got over that number as well. Meanwhile, on the other side, Torpedo's coming fresh off a 5-goal performance in their last outing themselves. Might not be too bad of a spot here for over-bettors. Give me Torpedo Belarus Zhodinyo plus 170 and the over 2.5 in that contest. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Saturday's Belarusian soccer action. Now, before we go ahead and move on with the program, I just want to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website at patreon.com/Brock page. Where once again, we are 6-1 straight up in our last 7 Dog of the Day tier package plays. Good for 86% in that span. We're also 9-2 straight up in our last 11 Underdog tier package plays in that same category. Good for 82% in that category as well. Very good package for us right now. We do daily premium sports picks on that website beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. We also have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. Currently, we have well over 550 members signed up and active on that page. Now, you may be wondering, why would all those folks sign up to receive Patreon picks where they can get them right here for free on YouTube day in and day out on a daily basis? And that's certainly a great point, a great concern. But there is a big problem with me handicapping every single game that's on the board, side and total. And the problem is this: if you were to bet every single game that's on the board that I put out here on YouTube, side and total, you're almost guaranteeing yourself failure. And I know that sounds crazy, but you just have to hear me out. If you're going to bet every single game that's on the slate with your hard-earned money, it's certainly not a winning formula for success. And as a matter of fact, it's a recipe for disaster. The books are way too smart. They're way too sharp. They have a whole lot more money than you and I do combined to be able to absorb that kind of action. Most important, guys, the math becomes aggressively against you the more and more games you play like that. So what I do on Patreon is I make life a lot easier for you. I break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage picks, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current Patreon record is a whole lot better than it is here on YouTube, handicapping every single game that is on the board, side, and total. And the good news is this. If you want to go ahead and check out my current Patreon record, you can actually do that for free right now. It's located right on the homepage. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. I'll also include a link in the comment section below as well. And once again, that is patreon.com/rockpage. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive back into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. Next contest, Neiman Grodno squaring off against Rook Brest in a 10 a.m. Eastern showdown. Grodno's the plus money favorite at $1.35, totals at 2, draws plus $1.85. And if you like Brest in an upset, they're plus 220 on the money line themselves. And speaking of Brest, they're coming fresh off a 1-1 tie with Gorodea. Matter of fact, Brest has 3 draws in their last 4 outings, where they actually held their opponents scoreless in 3 out of those 4 contests. Brest has also allowed just 3 goals all season, which ranks first in all of Vysshaya Liga. Meanwhile, on the other side, Neiman Grodno is coming off 2 draws in their last 5 themselves. They played Belarus and Shakhtar to ties during that stretch. They're giving up just 1 goal per game on average thus far on the season. Now, total-wise, just 2 out of Grodno's last 7 actually got over the total of 2 goals. Meanwhile, on the other side, 2 out of Brest's last 3 stayed under that number themselves. Matter of fact, 6 out of their last 7 matches thus far in the season stayed under that total. So this might not be too bad of a spot here for under bettors. Give me the draw at plus 185 and the under 2 goals in that contest. All right, next matchup I have for you, it's going to be in the Belarusian Vysshaya Liga. Some books have it listed as the Vysshaya Liga. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Dnepr Rochev squaring off against FK Bumpram in an 8 a.m. Eastern start time. Now, Bumpram is the $2 favorite in the total at 3.5 juice to the over. The draw is currently $3.33. And if you like Rochev in an upset, they're plus $4 on the money line. And speaking of Rochev, they're coming fresh off a humiliating 8-2 loss at the hands of Polosk in their last outing. Matter of fact, Rochev hasn't won a game in their last 4 straight and scored just 3 total goals in their last 3. They lost to the likes of Polosk, Victoria, Marina, Gorka, and Baranovici during that span. They also gave up a staggering 19 total goals in those 3 losses. Meanwhile, on the other side, we're looking at a Bumpram team who's coming fresh off a dominating performance over FC Zlobin 4-0. They're currently on a 2-match win streak, including another 4-goal victory over Polosk during that stretch as well. Now, total-wise, Bumpram's last 2 straight contests got over the total of 3.5 goals. Meanwhile, on the other side, Rochev is coming off an 8-2 contest with 10 total goals scored in their last outing themselves. They also saw 3 out of their last 4 fly over that total as well. Looks like a fairly decent spot for an overplay here. Give me Dnepr Rochev getting the job done for some very pricey moneyline cash and the over 3.5 in that contest. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be FC Meliorator Zhitkovitsky squaring off against BSU Minx in a 10 a.m. Eastern start time. FC is the massive $6.60 favorite with a total at 3.5 juice to the over. The draw is currently plus $5, and if you like BSU in an upset, they're plus 1,000 on the money line. And speaking of BSU, they're coming fresh off a 3-0 shutout loss to Ostrovets in their last outing. They also dropped 2 out of their last 3, including another multiple goal loss, this time against Dayush 3 Stanless Pinks by the final of 3-1. BSU's averaging just 1 goal per contest in their last 3. Meanwhile, on the other side, FC is coming off a solid 2-1 victory over Kronen Stolski. They've also won their last 3 straight, with 2 of those victories coming by way of shutout. They blanked Ivets and Dynamo Brest 1960 in those outings. They also given up just 1 goal in their last 3 as well. Now, total-wise, FC's last 3 straight all stayed under the total of 3.5 goals. Meanwhile, on the other side, BSU's last 2 straight stayed under that number themselves. Might not be too bad of an underplay here. Really good price point for an underplay. Give me FC Meliorate or Zhitkovitsky winning this one outright for some ridiculously expensive moneyline cash. Might want to include this one in a parlay. And the under 3.5 in that contest. All right, guys, time for some shout-outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. And from the Patreon platform, shout-out goes to Brian T., Jay Williams, Wine Weirdos, Matt Murphy. Also want to give a shout-out to James Witt, Justin Van Kuren, Terrell Parrott, and Brandon Saunders. Next, shout-outs from the Instagram platform, Sammy Maivakera, Ghost Picks ATS, Eddie Gorski, Invicta Sport Trading. Also want to give a shout-out to Cody Dunlap, Chris Borovich, Jose Granillo, and of course my good friend of nearly 30 years. Gotta show some love to my man, Mike Santos. And finally, shout-outs from the YouTube platform. Shout-out to Jamal Mohammed, Stephen Lewis, World Traveler, Lumberjack. Also want to send some love out to Jimmy Gold, Goodnight Munchie, Komu Praneeth, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my man Anil Kumar. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.